But if you have the quality, have the consistency, you reflect on your performance. Number 5, you get lucky. How to achieve exceptional results in anything. So anything in life, right? How do you achieve exceptional results? Whether it's sales, whether it's hitting a golf ball, whether it's shooting a basketball, right? Repetition, 100%, right? So if it's shooting a basketball, you have to have quantity. You have to have high quantity. You got to do it a lot. You got to keep shooting. Shoot. You need reps. So quantity is important. You got to get in front of a lot of customers, right? Number 2 is quality. They have to be thoughtful shots. You can't just heave it up there and hope it goes in, because you're not building any muscle memory that's going to serve you later on. So quantity, quality. Number 3, consistency. You can't shoot 100 or 1,000 thoughtful shots in one day and then take 2 weeks off. The gym doesn't work that way either, right? If you want to get white teeth, you can't brush them for 10 hours in one day and take 2 weeks off. It doesn't work that way. You got to brush them every day, unfortunately. So you got the quantity, you got the quality, you got the consistency. Number 4 is what I believe the most overlooked part of that formula. That's reflection. Our business doesn't really afford us a time to take a step back and reflect, because we're always in it. We're always working in the game and not on the game. So for you guys, and listen, if you left today and said, I didn't hear one thing that I thought was useful, I would not take it personally. I know for a fact you're already winning because you're carving out 2 hours of your day to get a little bit better, and 99% of salespeople aren't. They're just not. What do you think your competition's doing right now? They're sitting on their phones on TikTok. I can tell you what they're doing. I can get a manager to film them right now and send it to me. So the fact that
managers are doing the same thing.
You know, it is what it is, right?
Exactly.
It is what it is. But at the end of the day,
That's why they say 98% of the wealth in this country is controlled by 2%.
so to your point, I want to touch on that because there's actually a phenomenon that goes along with that. Number 4 is reflection, right? Take a lot of shots. You take thoughtful shots. You do it over a long period of time. You reflect on them. You're at the driving range. You go to hit a ball, it goes to the right. Close your face a little, goes to the left. Open it up a little, goes straight. Hit another one, goes a little further. Hit another one, you're behind it too much. You're constantly tweaking, you're reflecting on it. That doesn't work, and I tell salespeople this all the time. I had a guy that left yesterday, and I explained to him that I'm here for you every step of the way. You'll quit on me far before I'll ever quit on you. But if every time I get up and turn my back, you're back at detail, God knows doing what, you're on your phone, I have to glue you to the chair, it's not great for you. I'm not trying to grind you, but what happens is when you're making phone calls and you're prospecting, you have to get into a rhythm. If every time you pick up the phone, it feels like the first time, you've made no progress. It's like going to the driving range. The first ball's not going to be great, but you make a call, you tweak your pitch, you have your scripts, you have a couple word tracks, you start to sit up straight, you take it seriously, you start to find your rhythm, right? Same thing with call. You come back after vacation a little bit, that first up, you're shaking off the rust a little bit. You're, all right, I'm getting back into, you go back to the gym after a couple weeks, right? You're a little sore. A lot of times I find salespeople, they'll make a phone call, they go on TikTok. They make a phone call, they hit their vape. They make a phone call, they go on Snapchat. I had a sales guy, right. I had a salesperson a couple weeks back. I noticed that he was visually frustrated with really not getting too much traction on the phone. It was around 3:45, so I call him over and I say, what's going on? He goes, nothing. I said, how you making out? Because I had 2 other people in front of me. And he says, that's just tough. You know, nobody's answering. I've been calling all day. I said, I understand. I said, how many calls have you made so far today? Now, they make them through the CRM, so I know. It was a rhetorical question. He said 50, probably closer to 60. I said, well, it feels that way, but you've only made 22. And the reason why it feels like 50 or 60 is because it's taken you all day. So you feel like you put a whole day's worth of work in, and you didn't get the results that warrant a whole day's worth of work, but you really only put a half hour's worth of work in because you took a break in between every call. So then what happens, by the end of the day, you're no longer bought into the process because you think it doesn't work. But really, you just haven't put the reps in. You didn't have the repetition. You didn't have the quantity. And that happens a lot. But if you have the quality, have the consistency, you reflect on your performance. Number 5, you get lucky. You get the shooter's roll. You get the customer that comes in who you called yesterday, didn't answer, and last night they totaled their car. right? You get the customer that comes in who happened to start dating somebody whose uncle felt bad for her because she didn't have a vehicle and he's willing to sign a check for a down payment. Like, these things happen. Sales guy yesterday, he was calling customers, unsold customers, like 3 in a row totaled their car, but they already bought something. He goes, man, they already bought. I said, you're looking at it like a bad thing. I'm looking at it a great thing. There's buyers on this list. If you would have called them 3 weeks ago, you would have got them. But we waited 3 weeks to reach out. So you lost them, right?